The Married at First Sight Season 17 couples are officially enjoying their honeymoons. Some are getting closer minute by minute, but not too fast because disaster is lurking just around the corner. Lauren asked Orion if he had ever used the N-word, and then she proceeded to call him a redskin. I cringed so hard when I heard her go, "Oh, I just looked at your face." Because how could you say such a racist thing? And then making him be like, "Well, what's their story behind it? Are you comfortable telling me?" Like, why would you make him relive that? That is like, I don't know. I can't defend her on that. I don't understand why she felt like being like, well, let me find out what it was in that moment. If she wanted to have a teachable moment, she could have asked him after everything settled. But asking him in that moment to explain the brutal history behind that is just, yeah, I don't know. I will say that she is right about the fact that Black people tend to joke about the painful history of racism within our own culture. Racism is so ingrained in Black American history because, well, you know the history of America and Black people in America. So we have developed joking about things like that and kind of turning it into our own. She's saying she doesn't like his reaction to her, a Black woman, making a racist statement versus his reaction to Cameron, a white man, making a racist statement. I don't know. I hope they can move past this, but I'm going to be real. I would understand if Orion held on to that because he would be right to hold on to that. They're going to have to really do some heavy work to get through that. And we saw in a preview that is kind of causing ripples throughout the rest of their relationship. I can't believe she looked that man in his face and went like, "Oh, I see it." That's like looking at a Black person and being like, "Oh, I see why they call you Black," when literally you're not. Like, yes, Black people have turned, Black culture into a thing. But when you really think about the history of Black people being called Black, there's racism even in that, even though it's not the N-word. Yeah, Black was used as a derogatory term because clearly I'm very brown. You know what I mean? Hey y'all, it's Nate. Welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. This video will contain spoilers for Married at First Sight Season 17, Episode 5. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want spoilers, save this video and come back after you do. You are, of course, about to hear my thoughts on Episode 5, but I would love to hear yours, so feel free to drop a comment below if you do want to participate in the conversation. Sorry that this video is a day late. I had Selling Sunset yesterday, so I'm getting to this one late. Sorry, it won't happen again. Orion is a nurturer by nature. Before all of this stuff happened, he was speaking to Lauren and saying, "I want to make sure you feel safe," which really makes this situation hurt more because she didn't make him feel safe in that moment, and I really do feel for him. They were already talking about having children and possibly adopting children, so things were going great. He wanted to watch her put her edges down. I have my edges down. I think that was a great moment. I love that he wanted to participate in her culture and understand it and understand why it's called laying the edges. I just love that for them. I love that before all of that stuff happened, they seemed so truly invested in each other's cultures. It's such a beautiful thing. And I'm not saying that I think Lauren isn't truly invested in learning more about his culture, but you know what she said. I also like this 80-20 household split that they're talking about because I think those conversations around money, are extremely important to have. And people are typically afraid to have them even if they are married. Even if they weren't married at first sight, conversations are important. Because if you get to that step in your life where you're like, okay, we're having kids, and he's like, okay, well, they're going to daycare and you're going to work, right? There's going to be a disconnect and somebody's going to be miserable. And we all know that misery leads to resentment. Clare and Cameron are in trouble. Maybe not as much trouble as Lauren and Orion right now, but definitely still some trouble. He feels like they are progressing slower than the other couples, which may be true, but everyone isn't going to move at the same pace, especially in a situation like getting married at first sight. I feel like on these blind marriage experiments, like Love is Blind, like Married at First Sight, there's always a couple that's like, oh my God, everything's amazing, everything's going perfect, we clicked right away, we have so many things in common from day one. And then there's always that couple that takes a little bit longer to warm up, and of course seeing that is going to make that other couple or those other couples feel like, damn, what are we doing wrong? Damn, I didn't luck out. And it starts to create this resentment. I think we saw a little bit of that on the other side in the preview for the next episode when Austin and Becca are talking and he's like, I think I want to tone down a little bit because the other couples are feeling like we're too in love. That's the feeling that he's getting. And she's like, why would we tone down our love for them? So that's going to definitely be something they have to deal with too. But in regards to Cameron and Clare, yeah, Cameron is feeling a little bit of resentment towards her. And he's being mad passive aggressive. Isn't the point of a honeymoon to be physical?
What is the point of the honeymoon, after all, Lauren?
What?
To do something physical.
Sorry?
Clearly hinting at the fact that he and Claire are not physical. They're not even holding hands. They're not cuddling or anything like that. Which, yeah, you may have liked that. That may have been your best case scenario. But at the end of the day, at the bare minimum of this experiment, you did just meet her. So you can't expect her to be like all in right away, even though some couples are going all in right away. Let's maybe chill for a second and then run it back after we get to know each other. But Cameron is so on edge about that lack of intimacy that anything Claire does or says is annoying the absolute fuck out of him. And I think we all can relate to that. Have you ever just not liked someone so much that literally their entire existence feels like it's just to irk your soul? Just seeing them or hearing their voice, you're just like, oh my God, here goes this bitch again. That's how Cameron's feeling towards Claire right now. So in a case where she's poking fun at his lack of swag, in his mind, that chemistry isn't there. So he's like, that would be funny, but because you're pissing me off and we're not connected, that's just annoying the hell out of me. And I get that. That being said, Cameron is also not helping their situation by being a grudge holder. He again brought up the suitcase situation.
No, it looks great.
It fits all in my little suitcase that apparently no one believes that I can bring anything in.
He has to be able to move past things, especially in a marriage. But it's really hard for him right now because they're lacking intimacy. So they're not even connecting. So he doesn't feel like he should let something go for someone he doesn't even have a connection with. She called his job repetitive, kind of hinting at the fact like, oh, don't you want more out of life? And I think he took it in a bad way, and I understand why he took that in a bad way. He's like, wouldn't a surgeon, even though that's a prestigious job, wouldn't a surgeon also get bored of doing the same surgery every day? Which he's not wrong. Maybe surgeons do get bored. They probably don't get tired of that money, but they might get bored of doing surgery. I feel like at this point, they are both trying to try, but it feels kind of forced. Like even their interactions on camera just feels like, so, how's that weather today? It's very mundane, it's very surface level. But maybe that's just what it looks like on camera, and maybe it's not that way. She's trying to get this man to go to therapy, and see, that is my exact problem. I said early on in this season, I didn't like that she was a therapist. I would never date or marry a therapist because I would personally feel like they are always in my head and always trying to figure me out. And she is a prime example. Oh, have you ever done therapy? Why aren't you in therapy? Which I think everybody should be. I'm in therapy. But if the man don't want to go, the man don't want to go. And it's not your right to try to be his therapist just because you are a therapist. He's very much one of those go with the flow in life type of people. And Claire seems more planned and strategic and, you know, let's sit down and talk about things. And she's like, nothing is going to happen for you. You need to go open the doors. And he's more of a, I'm going to wait for the doors to open for me. And then I'll decide whether or not I want to walk through them.
You think that things that you deserve just come upon you? You don't have to work for them? That's what I'm hearing.
I think, yes. To answer your question more directly, yes.
This is actually a conversation I'm very familiar with. My best friend is very much a Claire. And she often tells me how she'll date a guy and she just feels like he lacks ambition. Not only in life, but in his career. He seems stagnant. He seems content. But she wants him to want more. I'm not going to share who you are, girl, because I don't need this man coming for you or me. She was actually just recently telling me about this guy that she's dating. And she says, yeah, he says things like, oh, well, I can't afford that, so I'm not going to worry about it. And she wants him to say things more along the line of, when I'm able to afford that, I'm going to get it. That's kind of like the little things. I feel like Claire is that same way, whereas Cameron's just like, life is what it is. All of that said, people who view life so drastically different are just not a good match. They're just not a good match. I don't think all the work in the world is going to help them see eye to eye on basic life POVs, and that's a problem because you're never going to agree on anything. He's never going to have that go-getter attitude, and she's going to resent him for it. Emily told Brennan that she is in fact a workaholic, and he was like, I love that you have that drive, which is great because she was really worried that he would be like annoyed by the fact that she's so married to her career. But it sounds like he is also all about the grind, so at least they agree on that. Where their problem may be is that they're doing it for different reasons. Brennan is doing it because he wants to have financial stability for his future family, which is now with Emily. Emily's doing it because she wants to be able to get up and go and do what she wants to do when she wants to do it. I respect both of those reasonings, but she may have to reel it in a little bit. I know for me personally, I work for both Emily's and Brennan's reasonings. I grew up financially insecure, home insecure at times, and I know what it's like not to be financially stable, so I never want to go back to that. And at the same time, I also work because I want to be able to get up and go and do what I want to do when I want to do it. So I understand both of those reasonings. It's just that Brennan's reason is going to require a little bit more budgeting on Emily's part. And she's also making sure that he knows she works hard, but she plays hard. Whereas it doesn't feel like he plays hard in the way that she does. He doesn't party a lot, and she still loves to party and loves to drink. When they were taking those shots, she was like, "You're taking every shot on this table, babe." So that's going to be an adjustment. But I am still worried about these two. I don't know. This is the honeymoon. Everything's peachy keen right now. But when they get back to the real world, they're going to have issues around her never having been in a relationship and not knowing how to live with someone or communicate with someone, and him having a toxic view on relationships because of the marriage that his parents have. Austin and Becca are so cute together. I'm a little sad that he feels like he has to reel in their cuteness for the sake of everybody else, but I love them together. They match each other's weird energy, and that's amazing because there is nothing worse than being in a relationship with someone and you feel like you have to tone down who you are. You want someone that's going to bring that out of you and allow you to express it even more. He is already so caringly acknowledging and being empathetic toward her chronic pain, and that is so amazing for her.
I mean, you just had surgery and
I just feel bad.
don't feel bad.
I know.
It's okay. It's your health.
She's indifferent about having kids, which, I don't think that's a big deal. She said she can see herself happy either way. He does want children, so they're going to end up having them if they do stay together, but I'm glad they got that out of the way early. This was a tough episode to watch, mostly because of the Lauren and Orion situation. It's just left a bad taste in my mouth. Stay tuned to my community tab to find out when my next video will go up, because next week is Thanksgiving, and I will be out of town, so I'm definitely not going to have access to all of my filming stuff and my computer to edit. So I probably won't have a video go up next week, so I guess I'll see you in a week. If you want to keep in touch until then, feel free to subscribe to my channel if that's your thing, and I'll see you next time. Bye! This is a test of the mic. Lauren asked Orion if he had ever, as a coping mechanism, which really makes... I think that was a great moment. I feel like on these blind marriage experiments, I feel like on these now you see, once you mess up, you start messing up everything. That's gonna definitely be something they have to deal with. This dog is going crazy outside.
Better at Coachella, I went to see Chica, she with the CC trip. Perfect. I took a seat on the ice cold dawn. She handed me an ice blue bong, whatever.